Welcome and thank you for joining me. My name is Russ Siegel, and today we're talking about common marketing myths that cost businesses money. I'm going to show you 10 common myths that I've run up against in the last 15 years or so that are still persistent and have actually, a lot of them been around for much longer. And these are myths that cause us to go in the wrong direction, spend money in areas that do not produce any results, and take us off track from where we need to be in terms of driving our business. So let's get started, shall we? The first myth that I hear a lot of folks say, especially small business owners, I'm just not a marketing professional. And why should you be? You don't have to be a marketing professional to succeed in marketing your small business. No one is going to love your business the way you do. No one is going to sell it the way you do. No one is going to preach it the way you do. And let's keep in mind that a lot of great inventive ideas have come out of common everyday people in some of the most ordinary of jobs. You see here a bucket, one of the early buckets of fried chicken. This was devised by Pete Harmon, the first Kentucky Fried Chicken franchisee. He had this idea to create a bucket and then put a dozen or so pieces of chicken in there and sell it with a lot of sides, and it really increased sales. It was a genius marketing strategy. Later on, Dave Thomas, who would go on to found Wendy's, would use the bucket on the sign out front of the Kentucky Fried Chicken restaurants, and this would become an iconic symbol of a KFC in the early days, where you'd see this large bucket rotating on an angle up in the sky above the restaurant, easy to spot. And while KFC in recent years has been a little on the decline here in the United States, worldwide they're growing like gangbusters, especially in Asian countries. So you don't have to be a marketing genius, marketing professional, a paid marketing staff to do marketing well. In fact, no matter what business you're in, you're a marketer. Doesn't matter what the technical aspect of your business is. As a business owner, you're a marketer. Everyone is my customer. If I had $1 for every time I heard this, I would have several dollars. It's a complete myth. How is this going to cost you money? Well, if you believe everyone is your customer, you're going to take a shotgun approach to your marketing. You're going to throw money at a lot of different things, whether it's billboards, radio ads, search engine optimization, or the back of a local diner's placemats. And you're going to find that you're not really getting any kind of results. I hear people all the time, well, Russ, I'm spending $300 a week on local newspaper advertising, and I'm not getting any results. My first question is, are your customers reading that newspaper? If they're not, then you need to reevaluate where you're spending your marketing dollars. You can't just assume that because you're spending money on marketing that all of your customers out there are finding you. Chances are you have a very small group of customers called the target market. And within that target market, you have niches. These are groups of people who like you, they trust you, they love you, and they want to do business with you no matter what, and they'll do business with you before they even consider doing business with anyone else. What makes those people tick? Bad marketing is a lot of fun, but it's very expensive because you just get to go out and throw money around. Really good marketing is difficult. It's a lot of upfront work. You've got to do your homework to find out who is that small group of customers who are most likely to give you money. And if you can find those people, it's so much easier to target them, to spend money to attract them and to get them to spend more money with you than if you're trying to constantly go out and recruit new customers from this universe of almost 7 billion people on the planet. So don't spend money willy-nilly. Spend it in areas where it's wise. You want to make sure that you are able to target people's specific interests. You want to be able to target their specific needs. Business is really simple, folks. Doesn't matter what you do, you have two objectives. One is to keep the customers you have and get more. If you can do those two things, you'll have a successful business. But so often we spend our time trying to go out and get new customers, new customers, new customers. And we never look at the existing customers to say, what makes them tick? What are the characteristics that make them such good customers? How can I go out and find more of those customers? Vilfredo Pareto was an Italian economist. He's been dead almost 100 years, and he came up with something that today has come to be known as the Pareto Principle, or the 80-20 rule. And the 80-20 rule is almost a universal formula for being able to say that 80% of our revenue, 80% of our profits will come from 20% of our customers. 80% of your headaches will probably come from 20% of your employees. 80% of your products will come from 20% of your suppliers. And that doesn't always work out exactly to 80-20, but that's not a bad rule of thumb. So how can you identify the top 20% of your customer base? Could you go through your customer list and find out what is that top 20% and how do we go find more customers just like them? Those customers can be individuals, or those customers can be other businesses. They can be government entities. It really doesn't matter what your customer base is made of. Your job is to find out who are the best 20% and how can you go get more of those. You're going to spend a lot less money targeting that group than with a shotgun approach, just hoping that you find someone out there who can become your customer. The next myth that we have is that advertising is the same as marketing. When I say marketing, most people define that as advertising. We mix up the two. But really, advertising is a very small piece of your overall marketing mix. And marketers love things that rhyme and make sense and all start with the same letters. And that's why they came up with the marketing mix of your product. It has to be something that is good. It needs to solve a problem. It needs to create a good feeling. Your product has to be something that people are willing to buy. It has to be more valuable to them than the money they spend on it. It can also be a service, but because marketers like all these things to start with a P, that's what we're going to go with. But marketing also includes your price. Your price says something about your product. Is it a luxury item? Is it a value-based item? Is it an economy item? There's a reason you pay more to sit in the front of the plane than to sit in the back of the plane. There's a reason you pay more for a Mercedes or a BMW or a Lamborghini than you pay for a Chevrolet or a Toyota. Price communicates value, or our perception of value, to our customers. If you tried to sell the Mercedes at the Ford Focus price, people are going to start wondering anything under the hood. Does it even have an engine? When was it flooded? When was it wrecked and rebuilt? On the other hand, if you try to sell the Ford Focus at the Mercedes price, people are going to wonder, why is it so expensive? It doesn't make sense in their minds to pay that high a price for something that they perceive as a lower value. You may have heard the saying that the 3 keys to success in real estate are location, location, location. Over the years, that has been translated to success in business. Your success is based on your location. Well, today, place, location, has a very different connotation. Yes, it can mean your physical location, but it doesn't have to. My recommendation to you is to be found in at least one physical, two virtual, or all three virtual, but they need to be in different places. And the hard work comes in to play when you really try to find out where those customers are. Remember that top 20% that we talked about. Where are they? Where do they hang out? Where do they go online for their information? If you're in the hospitality business, you know that you probably live and die by Yelp, by City Search, by TripAdvisor. Oh my goodness, TripAdvisor especially. So people have to be able to find you where they're looking, not necessarily where you want to be found. It's easy to hide out there. Billions and billions of websites. The online community is not like finding a needle in a haystack. You can literally be a needle in multiple haystacks. Don't make your customers have to find you that way. Make yourself easy to find for those customers who need to find you. I'm going to skip over to people for a second, because if you have a great product or service at a fantastic price that is attractive to your customers and also profitable to you, and you're easily accessible, it's easy for your customers to access your services or to put their hands on your product. If you have a crabby attitude on the phone, or if you have people who just don't enjoy their jobs, everything else you spend money on is wasted. You have to have people who are excited about what you do. Don't try to find people to buy into what you do. It's easier to hire people who are already excited about what you do and then teach them the business. Hire people who are friendly. You can teach people skills. You can teach people technical abilities, but you can't teach them to be nice to other people. That's pretty much set by the time they're 3 or 4 years old. So go out and look for those people who are excited and excitable and enthusiastic and happy to be there and happy to work with other people, because nothing happens until you sell something. And so if your people preclude your customers from buying, well, nothing's going to happen. At least nothing's going to go into your bank account. So promotion is where advertising happens. There are really two pieces to the promotional puzzle, and one is paid. If you pay for it, it's advertising. So you can see that advertising is about a half a slice of this marketing pie. If you pay for it, it's advertising. If you don't pay for it, it's publicity or public relations. When someone says or writes something nice about you and your business, it doesn't cost you anything to have that article written about you or that blog post or an endorsement or a testimonial. That's great. Word of mouth is great, but you can't control it. You could get bad word of mouth just like you could get good word of mouth. But the one thing you can absolutely control is your advertising. And you can target your advertising to those customers who are most likely to want to buy what you have. So when I say marketing, don't think advertising. But when I say advertising, I want you to think of advertising as being a very small piece of this overall marketing mix. Now, how is this going to keep you from wasting money? Well, if all you ever do is advertise, 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 think of your marketing mix as a cake mix. If you only throw in one ingredient and then you put it in the oven, you're going to have a mess, but you're not going to have a cake. So all of these different ingredients have to go into the mix in a proper proportion. You have to put some consideration into your product. You have to put some consideration into your people. They have to be knowledgeable. They can't fake it till they make it, because your customers are more knowledgeable than they've ever been. The internet has opened up information to them that they never had before. So if your customers know more about your product, your price, your place, your promotion than your people, you're in big trouble. So don't just focus on one ingredient in your marketing mix. I want you to consider all of these other things as well, and make sure they're going toward making a really good cake. The next myth is that doing any marketing at all is better than doing nothing. Well, I've got to do something. I've got this small business I just started. I want the world to know about me. But what if you don't have all of this figured out? If you haven't figured out how to deliver a quality product, if you haven't tried to figure out a profitable price, if you haven't given any thought to your distribution channels or to your location or to other people's ability to find you on the internet, how easy is it to find you? Local businesses, I'm talking specifically to you. Local businesses make it very difficult to find information online. And if there are any professionals listening to this, I wanted to say just a word or two about professionals. And I'm talking about doctors. I'm talking about specialists, dentists, oral surgeons, attorneys, CPAs, people who should know better. Yes, they teach you in your educational process how to operate a dental practice. They teach you how to they teach you how to be a dentist. They don't teach you how to operate a dental practice. They teach you how to be a lawyer, but they do not teach you how to run a legal practice. The business side of what you do is very different from the technical side of what you do. And you could be a very good technician and be a very poor business owner. One dentist who I spoke with hired a business manager because that's what she was told to do. If you want to run a dental practice and be in business for yourself, you hire a business manager. And this business manager took $50,000 from her before she knew what hit her. So you have to have all of these other things figured out first. Otherwise, you're just telling the world how bad things are. This is one of the reasons restaurants have what's called a soft opening, or retail stores have a soft opening. A soft opening means that the doors are open, you're in business, you're selling, you're serving food, you're doing all the things you do, but you haven't announced it to the world. This soft opening approach, even with an online business, is the time when you need to have all of your, what I would call friendlies, friends, family, associates, people who know you and can give you some honest feedback. Let them do business with you first. If we're going to trip and drop dishes, let's do that with our friends in the restaurant first so that we can figure these things out. And once we've got these things figured out, then we start the broader marketing initiatives. We start telling the world about us. And when we tell the world about us, we've already got it figured out so that we're not just announcing to them, come in, let us make our mistakes on you. Come in and be our guinea pig. Do business with us and let us try to figure things out. No one wants to be your guinea pig. So get the other things figured out before you start marketing. And if you don't have them figured out, don't do any marketing. It's going to save you a lot of money, I promise. Next, if the money gets tight, stop spending the money, right? Unfortunately, marketing is one of the first things to get cut, and this happens with large businesses as well. It's not just small businesses that face this conventional wisdom. I mean, other things that are very easy to cut would be people or training, and we're gonna talk a little bit about that in just a second, but let's not jump the gun and think that if we're in an economic downturn or the bank account's getting a little low, things are not moving the way we think they should, we're going to cut marketing. Conventional wisdom says cut because it's an expense. I say strategically increase it because it's an investment. The old saying that has been around for hundreds of years, you got to spend money to make money. Folks, it's no different today than it ever has been. You do have to spend some money. So what do these pictures have to do with anything? In the Great Depression, at the outset of the Great Depression, most most radio programs and commercials were just long infomercials. They were boring. They didn't really have any entertainment value because radio itself was a new medium. And people really didn't know what to do with it at that point. And they were just figuring this out. And along came Procter & Gamble and said, you know, we're not doing any favors to our customers by boring them to death. Why don't we try a different approach? So, the first soap opera was aired. It was called Ma Perkins. And Ma Perkins was one of about 4 original soap operas. They were called soap operas because Oxydol was the first sponsor of soap operas. And they would take periodic breaks to advertise Oxydol and announce that the show was being brought to the listener by Oxydol, this Procter & Gamble product. And so here we had a complete sea change in the way entertainment was done. There was a complete change in the way people listened to the radio. There was a complete change in the way products were advertised. And throughout the Great Depression, Procter & Gamble doubled its radio advertising spend almost every single year. And as their products grew, as their notoriety grew, radio grew as well, which caused radio to be the fastest growing industry throughout the Great Depression. You know, people seem to think that during the Great Depression, no one spent money. Well, the fact is, people saved money, and when they had a little bit of money, they ran out and bought a radio, because there are 3 things that people are going to spend money on in an economic downturn. Number 1, we're going to eat well, we are going to look good, and we're going to be entertained. And people wanted that entertainment value. So another story from this same era was the battle between Post and Kellogg. Post had started with the Post had started with the Post Toasties, a cornflake that dominated the cereal industry. And Kellogg really wasn't even a blip on the radar at this point. But during the Great Depression, Post did exactly what conventional wisdom said to do. They pulled back on their advertising. They started cutting their advertising expenditures, and they virtually disappeared from the radar. Not only did they disappear from store shelves and from the airwaves and from print media and from the customers' minds, they also started to disappear from their investors' minds as well, because at the same time they were cutting back on their marketing, Kellogg was expanding their marketing efforts. They were spending more money on their marketing year over year. During the Great Depression, Kellogg overtook Post and never looked back. They've never been in the number 2 position to Post or to General Mills since that time. That is a phenomenal run. And it was because when everyone else stopped spending marketing money, they spent more. Same goes for Procter & Gamble. How is this going to keep you from losing money? Well, when you cut your marketing, you cut your visibility, you cut yourself out of the market, and you cut yourself out of your customer's mind. You want to be at the top of your customer's mind. When people thought about soap in the 1930s, they thought Oxydol. What are they thinking about when they think about your product or your service? Are they thinking about you and your brand? Or are they thinking about someone else because someone else has that top of mind position and you have all but disappeared? Another myth that we face is that satisfied customers are loyal customers. We talk about customer satisfaction like it's the Holy Grail. It really isn't. We live in an age of customer disloyalty. More and more people want to find products and services and businesses that they can be loyal to. Yet at every turn, these businesses fail at the customer loyalty test. They take advantage of customers. They set up policies to interfere with the customer's ability to love them. I want you to think about your return policy, your complaint policy, the ability you give your employees to make customers happy. Do your employees have the ability to take matters into their own hands, to own the problem, or is it your policy to turn it over to someone else? Several years ago, when San Diego built a new stadium for the Padres, a lot of people were unhappy about it because sometimes people don't like the notion that the public is going to pay for a major stadium. And so the ownership decided that what they were selling was not entertainment. They were selling a baseball experience, a major league experience. And if you've ever been to that stadium, it's a phenomenal stadium. It's wonderful. The views are great, great seating. It's a wonderful stadium. It's got great food options, and they said, we want to give people from top to bottom, from the time they park and walk into the stadium to the time they leave, a fantastic fan experience. And what does that include? So they trained everyone down to the beer and hot dog vendors. And they said, you work for the fans. So one of the first things that happened was a customer got back to his seat and realized that they had been given the wrong order. And it was close, but it wasn't exactly what he ordered, and so he took it back to the hot dog stand. And the kid behind the hot dog stand said, let me ask my supervisor what to do. And the fellow next to him, who wasn't his supervisor, turned to him and said, you don't have to ask anyone. He pointed at the customer and said, you work for him. Fix his problem. This is what customers want from us today. They want us to own the problems, and they want us to fix things. We can't be perfect all the time. It's awful hard to do 100% the right thing with 100% of your customers. Yes, it's something we should strive for, but sometimes it's physically impossible. Humans make mistakes. The key is in how we recover. When things fall through the ice, are we able to dig it out of the chilly waters and make those customers happy? We have to win customer loyalty every single day, every single encounter, every single experience. So what are you doing to help your customers be more loyal to you? We can't create customer loyalty. We can't enslave our customers and make them loyal to us. We can create conditions that make our customers want to be loyal to us. So as you think about the policies that you set up, the power that you give to your people, maybe you're a one-person operation. What power do you give yourself to fix things? Do you want to get up every morning and reinvent the wheel, or do you want to make it easy on yourself to take care of your customers' common problems every single time? Customers want to talk to a real human being. Do you give them that option? Customers don't always want to find information about you through an FAQ page. Do you make it possible for them to find information? I'm going to go back and pick on our professionals here for a second because, again, professionals don't think they need a website. Professionals, for some reason, don't believe that they need a local web presence. I can't tell you how many times I've been looking for a local professional in a variety of fields and cannot find information, not even by just Googling the name and the specialty. Now, if you have all kinds of money and you've got all the money you'll ever need and you really don't need new customers, that's fine. You can probably just click off now and you don't need the rest of this. But if there are always opportunities for you to have more customers, to make more money, what are you doing to help your customers be loyal? If they can't find you, they can't give you their money. And just because they find you once, if your people don't treat them right, there's no loyalty. If your message, if your advertising, your marketing message is off kilter, there's going to be no loyalty. If your price fluctuates on a whim, there's going to be no loyalty. If your product isn't good, if the quality is suffering, there's going to be no loyalty. Think about this. Customers are looking for three things. You should write these three things down, because these three things are going to be the key to your success. They're going to be the key to maintaining customer loyalty and increasing customer loyalty from new customers. Number one, what you do, what you sell, has to have good quality. It has to be good. It has to work. It has to hold together. If you provide a service, your service has to fix it. I've seen a lot of good services out there that actually create more work. I had a plumber who did some work for me one time. He fixed the plumbing, but he cost me 3 hours of cleanup. Don't be the Tasmanian devil in the works here, but make sure that you're making it easy for your customers. Good quality work. Number two, it needs to be consistent. Your business needs to have an element of consistency. It doesn't need to just be good. It needs to be good every single time. Every time. And if it's not, do you have a pre-established method for making it right? You don't have to offer the customer the world. Sometimes it's as simple as saying, what can I do to fix this for you? What can I do to make this right? Once you've done that, a lot of times you'll figure out how to fix things going forward. So it has to be good quality. You have to have consistency. And number three, and I think this is the ultimate key to customer loyalty, is you have to have capacity. We live in an Amazon world. You can order something today if you've got Amazon Prime. You could have it shipped to you tomorrow. People want what they want when they want it. We want it. This is why big box stores, much to the chagrin of small businesses, are still so popular. It's because people walk into a big box store, and it may not be perfect, but it's what they're looking for, and they can get it at 3 o'clock in the morning. They have the capacity to get what they want when they want it. They go into the smaller equivalent of the mom and pop store down the street, and they say, I want this, and they say, well, we don't have this, but we can order it for you. It'll be here in 2 to 3 weeks. Not acceptable. On the service side, if you want to have your windshield replaced, or if you want to have your drains unclogged, you can call a major company, a franchisee that has a national presence, and they have national processes and national professionalism, and everyone wears a uniform and drives a clean truck, and it just says professionalism. They can call those folks, and they say, well, the phone is answered promptly, the emails are answered promptly, my questions are answered promptly, and I'm scheduled to have the service promptly. You can get here this afternoon, you can get here tomorrow, you can get here when I'm going to be home. Or they can call the mom and pop operation that says, well, we're awful busy, we can't get to it for another 3 weeks, or we'll try to call you back tomorrow and see when we can schedule a time to come out and look at it, and see then if we can come back out and fix it. And you get the picture. It's a hassle. We want what we want when we want it. And so whether we're selling goods or services, we have to have an element of capacity. That drives customer loyalty. Quality, consistency, capacity. I promise you get those three things right, you're not going to have to worry too much about anything else in your business, because those are the big three that drive loyal customers, not only to keep coming back and spending money with you again and again, but telling their friends and their friends' friends, and posting nice things about you on Yelp and Facebook and tweeting about you. Raving fans will tell the world. The next myth is that the customer wants the lowest price. Folks, if you are in business to have the lowest price, move quickly, because you're not going to be around very long. Marketing on the strategy of having the lowest price will put you out of business faster than almost anything, because you can't out Walmart. Competing on price is a race to the bottom, and it's going to depend on who has the most cash to determine the winner. If your competitor has more cash in the bank than you do, your competitor will be able to outlast you. Your customers are actually looking for good value. Your price will help them shape that value. If you price a little bit higher and you give people a darn good reason to pay that higher price through faster delivery, quicker service, installation, free shipping, lifetime warranty or a guarantee, no hassle return policy. If you don't like it, you don't pay. Tell your friends we'll give you a discount on the next one, this kind of thing. If you help shape that value, your customers will look for that value, they'll recognize that value, and they will pay for that value. Because if all you're doing is giving them price, all it takes to win the customer away from you is for me to come along and offer a lower price. You may have a better product, but if I've got better value, I'm going to win your customers. Here's one of my favorites. I don't need a website. Think about all the different ways we get information today. We have television, we have billboards, we have newspapers, the internet. Well, we also have the internet through the computer, through a tablet, through your phone, now maybe through your glasses, and it's even, as I speak, they're working on technology to embed a browser in a contact lens. There's so many different ways people access information. If they're looking for you and they don't find you, they're not going to look for you very much longer. They're going to go somewhere else. Don't make them search for you. There are billions of websites out there, and I'm going to tell you this too. Web designers won't want to admit this. Some will. But your website may not ever make you a dime directly. You may never sell anything on your website. Your website may not ever directly bring you a customer. But I will promise you that if you don't have a website and people are looking for you, or they're looking for the services or the products that you provide, if they don't find a website, you're out of the game. You won't even know that the customer was looking for you. They'll just go away. They'll go to someone else, and it's a missed opportunity that you'll never, ever get back. You have to have a website just to tell the public that you're serious about what you do, because in this day and age, if you don't have a website, you are not really serious about marketing your business. You don't have to have a really fancy, expensive, whiz-bang website. Two of my favorite sites that are do-it-yourself web builders, and they're pretty friendly and easy to use. One is Weebly.com. It's Weebly. Weebly is super easy to use to create a simple website. Even if you just want to create a simple one-page brochure site that says, here's my phone number, give me a call. Something like that will at least help you show up on the Google search. If somebody is looking for an endodontist in Harrisburg or a podiatrist in Philadelphia, something is better than nothing when it comes to that. You need to make sure that you're visible. They may not choose you, but at least they have been able to find you. You have to do this. Now, when we think about the billions of websites that are out there and the billions of people who are using those websites and gathering information, and some of the statistics are staggering. I'm not going to give you any because I can't really find a lot of statistics that agree on this. But every day we are bombarded by thousands of images and thousands of messages. And how do we sort all of that out? More and more people are distrusting the paid media. They're distrusting advertising. They are distrusting news accounts. They are distrusting things that other people say. Well, at least they're distrusting what's said by people they don't know. So where are they going to get reliable information about the news, about world events, about your business, or about the type of service that you offer? They're going to social media. And people who say social media is worthless for my type of business fall into two camps. One, they've just never tried it. And so they assume that because it's new and they don't understand it, it's not going to work. The other camp is they've tried it, but they didn't know what they were doing, and so they've assumed that because they weren't able to be successful at it, it's broken and not them. Well, social media is certainly not broken. I would encourage you to find out what you can about the different social media platforms. Who goes there? Who uses it? What are the statistics? Do the user statistics for Pinterest, for Twitter, for Facebook, for LinkedIn, for Instagram, do those user statistics for who goes to those sites match up with your customer profile, that target market that you looked at? Find the social media platform where your customers are hanging out and go there. You don't have to be everywhere. You don't have to be on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, LinkedIn. It can drive you insane. Now, if your business gets larger, chances are you're going to have customers spread out over all of those platforms. But if you're an interior designer, you want to do something visual. What are the more visual platforms? Pinterest, Instagram? So look for things that appeal to the customer you have already defined, that top 20% of people who are most likely to give you money. If we can go find them and go to those websites or those social media platforms where they are, we're more likely to attract them and engage them. And social media isn't about driving sales necessarily. Ultimately, you want to see some return on your investment of time, but really it's about driving engagement. We want to give our customers a way to interact with us. We want to give them an opportunity to say something back. Yet more than 70% of your customers, even if they're unhappy, they're never going to say anything to you because people just don't like confrontation. But there's a succinct formula, and a very specific formula for creating confrontation online. It's a two-step process. Number one, express an opinion on social media. Number two, wait. I'll guarantee you that if you give people an opportunity to give you feedback, to talk back to you, to tell you what they're happy about or what they're upset about, they will use social media to do that. Social media is a place, it's a safe place for most people to say things that are on their mind, on their hearts, that they would not say if they were to walk in your front door. So give people that opportunity. It's not the end of the world if they complain. Other conventional wisdom is that if nobody's complaining, everything is fine. Not true. Some people don't complain, but they just go away. Social media gives you the opportunity to let them complain and then fix the complaint. Sometimes they just need to know that someone has heard them and someone is compassionate and empathetic to their plight. And if you can fix it, social media is a great way to communicate that, not just to the person who was upset, but to everyone else who saw how upset they were. Companies, all you have to do is look at the news. Each and every week you'll find accounts of companies doing it well and companies totally blowing it. Don't be one of those companies that blows it. One of the social media platforms that we don't really think about being social media is what I would call transparency websites like Yelp and TripAdvisor. Now, these two sites, again, if you're in the hospitality business, you live and die by these sites. It gives people an opportunity to say, I was happy about this or unhappy about that, and what are you going to do about it? And too often we see companies that retaliate or throw something back at their customers that's not kind. It's not our fault that your food was cold. If you had only done this, or if you had only said that, if you had only told our waitress this, or if you had only told the desk clerk that. Don't make it the customer's fault. Don't make it the customer's problem. Social media is a place for you to own the complaints, for you to own the problems, and for you to say, we're going to own the solution as well, and we want you back. If you do it right, social media will win you customers. If you're not there, you'll lose customers simply because those who have something to say don't have any place to say it. Now, the dirty little secret is they're going to say it, but you're not going to have any control over it. You're not going to have any way to respond. There was one time I was, in the early days of the internet, I was looking to rent a truck, and so I went to, I think at that time it was Netscape or Alta Vista, and I just looked up the word U-Haul. On the front page of that search result, there was nothing that would allow me to rent a truck. Every site was a complaint site about U-Haul. And U-Haul is not the only culprit. I don't want to single them out because it could be anybody and it could be any good company. It doesn't matter because people's opinions are their opinions, and if you don't have a way to address those, they're always going to win the war of words. So make sure you have a way for people to give you feedback and for you to converse and engage those folks. Now, there's one last myth, and this one is extremely important because it's a small business killer and it's a small business owner killer. We have always been told the customer is king. Take care of the customer will take care of you. I absolutely believe that. But I want to bust this myth by saying the customer isn't king. You are. Your people are. If you don't treat yourself well, if you don't take care of yourself, if you don't eat right, get enough sleep, enjoy some recreation, some time away from the business, some downtime, if you don't treat your people well, there's no way any of you can take care of your customers. Take care of the people on the inside first, and they'll be in better condition to take care of the people on the outside. I promise you. High-achieving people, high-performing people don't suffer downtime unnecessarily, but they do schedule downtime. Scheduling downtime is different from suffering downtime. Scheduling downtime might be that one day a month you do nothing but read and catch up on articles and industry news and learn something that can benefit your business and help your mind grow. Scheduling downtime might also mean that you spend one day taking a walkabout. Put a notepad in your pocket. Go for a walk. See if there's something out there unrelated to your business that you could then bring back to your business. Rick Branson has been known to do this. He keeps a large collection of pocket-sized notebooks that he's carried around for years, and he collects all these ideas. So he might find something that's totally unrelated to one of his businesses. It looks like something they could adapt and bring it into one of the Virgin family of businesses. How do we do that? And so these are the things that they have meetings about. And so if you have a notebook with you all the time and you're just walking, number one, you're getting exercise. You're enriching your body. You're making yourself stronger and more capable. But number two, you're also going to find things that maybe you own a car dealership and you pass a restaurant that's doing something really cool, and you say, wow, I'm going to write this down. I'm going to go back to the dealership tomorrow. We're going to talk about this and see how we could adapt this and adopt it and implement it. Those are very important things. Give incentives to your people to take care of themselves, to exercise, to rest, to enrich themselves so that they can take better care of your customers. Folks, I promise that if you follow that simple formula, you're going to feel better about yourself. Your business is going to perform better. Let's get out of this mindset that the customer is king. You are. You have to treat yourself well. Again, I'm Russ Siegel with Premier Entrepreneurship Group, and for about 16 years now, we've been helping small business owners work less, make more money, and have more fulfilling lives. I encourage you to visit our website, look for some upcoming events that we have. Every couple of weeks, we're going to have some webinars and things that we can offer to you. We also do some live events, and so feel free to look through some of the topics that I offer there, and if you would like to bring me to your business or to your association or to your community to speak about some of these things, I'm more than happy to. I love doing that. Also, I encourage you to connect with me on Facebook or Twitter or both, and hopefully I'll have some interesting and useful things for you there. And I hope that this has been beneficial to you. This has also been recorded. You'll get a link, and there will be a link on our website as well as anymeeting.com where you can go back and review this webinar at your convenience. And we hope that you'll take these things and start today to implement them. Let's bust the old myths that are really costing businesses money and holding us back from our peak potential and our peak performance. And let's do those things that are contrary to a lot of the conventional wisdom out there, because it may be conventional, but that doesn't mean it's wisdom. Folks, thanks for joining me today. I'm Russ Siegel, and I'll see you on the next webinar.